Folks, we got a great call lined up. As you know, this whole month of July was a fantastic month. Last week, this young man gave us the ACN system, the ACN what? System. And that is so powerful. I think a lot of times we miss the simplicity of our business. Well, as you know, this whole month of July on Tuesdays, he's been holding the fort down with giving us great information on how to build our ACN business. Without further ado, the one and only incomparable Mr. Julian Lewis.
Started, I just want to give it back to Mr. Thomas, just in being an example as a leader, someone that I could model myself behind, someone who has been able to create consistency within his business throughout the years, even before I joined the company, and able to teach me and people like me a great method of operation on a day-to-day to be able to attract success into our lives and to be successful, not just as a man, but as a father. I just, everything that you've done over the years and currently doing, I appreciate you. I appreciate your wisdom. And I'm looking forward to seeing the future leaders come out of what we're teaching them together and this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to jump right into this because there's some great things that I want to bring everything together. All month we've been talking about the system. We started out with leadership. How do I identify what a leader is, what a leader isn't, so that you can be the example within yourself and you can identify it in your team. We also talked about the system, with the stair-step system. The reason why most people have a hard time helping people move through the ranks in ACN is because they're not moving them through enrollment in ACN. And remember, enrollment is what? Plugging them into each step of the trainings. The trainings are what gets your team enrolled. So it's not a random thing or I'm looking for the next hot shot. No. If you're looking for the next hot shot, you'll never build a massive team. Because if the average person isn't necessarily a hot shot, then how are you going to build a massive team if everyone that you partner with thinks they have to be this crazy special thing in order to be successful? It's not going to happen. All right. The next thing is, what do we talk about? We talked about the launch. What's the purpose of the launch? Eliminate, listen to me carefully, leaders. Who's a leader on here? Raise your hand. If you're a leader, eliminate qualified from your vocabulary. And here's what I mean. In having a conversation with your new person, if you're stuck on if so-and-so is so-and-so, are you qualified? Are you qualified? Qualified doesn't make you any money. Qualified, it's executive team leader. Let's get you promoted. Yes, qualifications need to happen, but remember what I said with my daughter. There's a way to speak. There's a way to share it with someone so that they'll get it. If there's nothing in it for them, they're going to fight you on it. Okay. If there's nothing in it for my daughter to eat the chicken, remember I talked about that. She's going to fight me on it. If she knows that it's going to help her to grow big and strong to become an adult, baby, do you want to be smart? Do you want to be a smart 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old? She says, yes. Well, you need to eat the chicken, not just because it's healthy, because that doesn't compute. That doesn't make sense. So the same thing with your team. If you're like, yeah, we need to get you qualified. I'm telling you guys, they're going to fight you on qualifications. Then you're going to have to become a salesperson and get great at closing people. But if you have to close them on being qualified, listen to me carefully. You're going to have to close them on everything else. So get smart. Remove that from your vocabulary so your qualifications can increase. All right. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, and this is the training. This is where we're wrapping up with this. And so this is more of a leadership training. So I hope you guys really catch this morning. We're going to be talking about, if you take notes, write this down, tap rooting. Often hear people talk about it. Most people don't really know what it is. They just heard leaders speak on it, so they mention it, but they really don't know the simplicity of what it is and how it works. So I'm going to talk about tap rooting. Okay. First of all, the first thing you need to know about tap rooting, what is it? Tap rooting is the ability for you as a leader to move through a list of people who are signing up in your team, move through and identify people that want to work with you. So for instance, if you introduce Mr. Al Randolph, okay? You introduce Mr. Al Randolph and you say, hey, Mr. Al Randolph, you ready to get going? He says, yes, I'm ready to get going. And remember I showed you the training with the eyeballs? Mr. Al Randolph, listen, I know you're excited, but I also know there's at least 2 or 3 people that you probably connect with and talk about right away. Here's what we want to do. Who is that person? Mr. Randolph says, my brother, my best friend, and my friend, my cousin. We're super close. He says those 3 people. Say perfect. Let's get them on the phone. Mr. Randolph knows their schedule. Why? Because they're super close to him. He doesn't have to figure that out. He knows when his best friend is going on lunch. Does that make sense? He knows when his cousin is coming home from work. So these are easy invites. All he has to say to his best friend is, hey, I need to talk to you when you get on lunch. I'm really excited about something that's important. He doesn't have to pitch his best friend. That's weird. He doesn't have to pitch his cousin. He tells his cousin, hey, cuzzo, you get off at 3 today, right? Listen, before you do anything, call me. I need to talk to you about something extremely important. I'm excited. But yeah, it's who do you know, but you don't say who do you know like that. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is the point. There's a difference between the outline, what you're doing in your head, and what you're actually saying. Sometimes when we train people on what to do, they actually say out of their mouth, and it's embarrassing. It's like when little kids hear their parents say certain things and then they go and say it out in public and it embarrasses their parents. That's what new IBOs do, because now you're offending people. You're offending them. So here's what I'm trying to say. I go with Mr. Al Randolph. He says, cuzzo, you get off at 3, right? I'm going to call you at 3. I'm so excited. I have to talk to you about something. I have good news. Now his cousin is excited to talk to him at 3. Remember what Mr. Aaron Burt said? Excitement is one of the major things you need to have. So the cousin's already excited. He didn't have to memorize a script. And all he's going to do is when he calls his cousin, it says, cousin, I'm really excited about something and I couldn't wait till you got off. I'm working with an individual. I've got him on the phone to talk to you about what I'm excited about. Hold on for a second. His name is Mr. Lewis. Now, Mr. Lewis says, hey, cousin, listen, I'm glad I got you on the phone. Mr. Randolph has told me some great things about you. He's really excited and he's working with me on a project. And he wanted me to kind of share it with you because since he's so new, he didn't want to mess up. You know what that's called? That's called being honest. And so now cousin's excited. She's excited to hear what's going on. And now I can invite her easily to take a look at what we're doing. Now, the faster I can get in front of those 3 people, the faster Mr. Al Randolph is going to have confidence in his new leader, because now he's seeing me in action doing what? Inviting, 3-way calling, and presenting. We get so caught up in thinking that training means I'm going to show you a slide on how to invite, do a 3-way call, and present. I'm training Al from the moment I said hello. I'm training Al by my example. And this is a mistake that I'd say a lot of leaders make, that their production isn't where they want to be. And please, if you think I'm talking about you, I'm not. But if you feel that I am, it's probably because you're doing some of this. All right. As a leader, who knows how to build ACN? better than you in your downline? Chances are no one. Chances are you are the man or the woman, right? So here's the mistake that we make. When we recruit someone and we give them to somebody, I want you to think about that for a second. If my daughter was born and I looked at my baby and I gave her to a family member and I said, hey, I know she's my kid, but you got it. You take care of her. Now, in my mind, I might know that my family members are amazing people. But what is my daughter going to feel like? She's going to feel like I gave her away. These are people, everyone. These aren't things. And you don't realize that you psychologically mess up that person, because here's what happens. They built the relationship with who? With you. And so when you meet them, develop and foster a relationship and give them away, you're telling them, now I'm a part of a sale. I'm putting you somewhere. Unless you're working with them, why would you introduce them? And I'm going to tell you this for a reason. Because oftentimes I saw in my organization, the only people that built this business massively in my personal mentors organization are the people he didn't put people under. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because we had to grow and figure out by example. If I gave my daughter a BMW and she wrecked it, she'd ask for another one. And she wouldn't know the appreciation. She wouldn't know the importance of it because she didn't have to work for it. But my father, he made me pay for my hoopty. And if you don't know what a hoopty is, look it up. And because of it, it was an old Civic. It had no radio. I remember because here's funny, when we were kids, the radio got stolen while we were at church. Okay. So it had no radio. It had no AC. Well, it had vents, but it definitely didn't have cool air coming through the vents. The heat worked. Okay. But I washed that car. I took care of that car. I loved that car because I had to pay for that car. So if a leader, you're handicapping your team, here's what you need to do. Show them your example. My daughter learned how to walk because she was just so excited to walk. Why? Because she saw people that looked like her walking. I learned how to walk, but my brother learned how to walk faster than me. You know why? Because I was only 3.5 years older than him. So he saw my parents walking, but who looked more like him? My parents or his older brother? Me. So he saw me walking and he would watch me in the crib. I remember it too. He'd have his hands and he would watch me in the crib going all over the place. And you know what he said? He looks like me. If he can do it, what? I can do it. Imagine if he never, this is gonna mess you up. Remember I told you this is my point. Please, leaders, I hope, pray. Listen, whatever you're doing right now, just stop it and listen to me. If I sat down in the room and my brother never saw me walk, he never saw my mother or father walk, would my brother, even if we talked to him about how great we are at walking, would he have ever learned how to walk? Hell no. And here's the point. Leaders, you got to where you are by walking, not by saying, not by showing, not by talking how you walk. So when you're a leader and you are not in the trenches getting people to ETL anymore, no matter how great you sound, You can never teach your group how to walk because you're trying to talk to them about what walking looks like instead of actually walking around. So if you don't have a new project that you're personally showing how to get personally working with and getting to ETL, no matter what you say, it's lip service. Because if your team has never seen you do it, even though they have the ability to do it, if you're the parent, you're not leading by example. So you will never promote a lot of ETLs because you aren't being the example. I wanted to start with that because that's sobering, but you need to wake up. And I'm talking to everyone right now. Anytime I want to build a new team, I know personally, anyone that have been on this conference call things with me over the past year, you know, I personally will get someone to executive team leader. Why? Because I need my old team to see what? That I don't need them. That's important. And I need my old team to see that this is how you do it. I need my new team to work with the guy who knows how to what? Do it. If I give all the people that I recruit to people in my team, then it becomes an experiment. So, all right, now that we got that as a foundation, you guys get that? All right, here's what I need you to tell. SVP, work with everyone. Everyone's heard this before. Work with everyone. Treat everyone like they can go SVP. Treat everyone like they can go as SVP, but work with them like they're going to quit tomorrow. Treat everyone like they're going to go SVP, but work with them like they're going to quit tomorrow. I'm going to give you the keys to effective taprooting. You guys ready? All right. Number one, and this is the most important one. Move fast. Success in network marketing loves speed. It detests moving slow. I'm just going to be blunt. And for any of you that are on here that say, any of you that have sometimes people join your team and say, well, you know, I'm doing well financially and I don't need to move fast, right? I know we've all had those people. Ask them this question. If you are not hungry, but you're baking a cake, does that mean you get to keep it in the oven until you're hungry? No, that's called stupid. The recipe calls for the recipe, whether you're hungry or not. So the reason why we're building fast is because in order to have success in network marketing, you need to have speed that's a part of the process. Because when your team joins, you're their example. Remember, you're showing them how you walk. So in order for them to have success, they need to build fast, which means by example, who needs to build fast? You need to build fast. That's how you handle that, guys. All right. So move fast. Number two, and this is what I taught you last week with the eyes, right? Number two, the emergency PBR. What is the emergency PBR? Our team, we call it flat tires. Those are the 3, sometimes 5, in big families, in some cases 10, closest people to you. These are the people that are so close to your new person that they don't need a script to invite. And they know their schedule. So emergency PBR right away. All right. Next one. This is the third one. I hope you guys are catching this. You want to get your new IBOs paid immediately. Your only mission as a leader is to fight tooth and nail to get your new IBO paid. That is your goal. Your goal, your job isn't to spew ACN jargon to them. to show how much you know. No, none of that. Your goal is to get them paid immediately. Next one. Everyone, and I talked about this last week, everyone is a doorway to a new list, right? Someone's gonna, remember what I said, someone's either gonna be a leader or a lead source. Leader or a lead source. This is important too. Next one. You're a coach, not a counselor. Know the difference. You're a coach, not a counselor. Both myself and my first mentor in this business, we had a rule. Anything anything personal that we need to discuss is outside of the scope of business hours. What was that for us after 10 p.m.? You want to talk about something personal after business hours? You call me during business hours, we're talking business. I'm your coach, not your counselor, all right? Show them how to work by working. Not by talking, not by saying, here's how you do it. Show them how to work by working. Grow as you go. Oftentimes leaders do what? Or up and coming new people do what? They take time. I need to grow first. And then no. You grow as you go. You grow as you go. And this is the most important after move fast. Stay in phase 1 to feed your team. Stay in phase 1 to feed your team. You have to be that example. If you're not that example, don't talk about it. When I'm not, listen, you have to lead by integrity. This is so important. When I'm not in top production, I'm not going to talk about top production, but what I will talk about are the fundamentals. What I will talk about is the mindset. But if you're not in top production, if I don't see you on that chart in open line, because look, I've been doing this a long time. If I don't see someone on the RD open line chart, RVP open line chart, and they're talking about production, here's what happens to me. I'll listen to them like this, but in my head, I'm doing this. I'm not listening to anything they're saying until they get back into production. Because even though the conversation sounds similar, it's not the same when you're in it. When you're in it. All right. So tap, how do we do it? What are the mistakes of tap rooting? First mistake, so tap rooting is getting a recruit for a recruit. Here's the first mistake that happens. Let's say you have this guy and it's Al Randolph and he's very coachable. And Al Randolph, he does his emergency PVZ. He does all the things he needs to do. A new leader assumes Al is the guy. This is the mistake. The new leader says, I got myself a leader. I'm going to train him on how to be a leader. No, you're not. Leaders aren't built. Leaders are found. Write that down. Leaders aren't built. Leaders are found. There are too many people that are smart people that I know that make a huge mistake. And I know some personally, and it breaks my heart. They try to manufacture an RD versus looking for an RD. How do I know it's a mistake? I made that mistake before. I built, and I'm going to tell you the name, but I built a few TCs to President's Club, all me. I built the legs, all of them, all me. Mistake. The person at the top's like a figurehead. They're not a real leader, but they got a title now. That's dangerous. Now they're parading around like they know what to do, and they're teaching people information that's not real. And so it's dangerous. So here's what you want to do. You don't want to manufacture. If you got a guy who's got influence, but he's not doing the right things, I'm going to tell you a secret. He's not the guy. He's not the leader. He's a big lead source. Don't confuse the two. Does that make sense? And so when you got a guy like that, here's what the mistake is. Julian will say, man, I got me an Al Randolph. All right. I got me an Al Randolph. And so you know what I'll do? When Al signs up, because he had a great PVZ, he was coachable, he signs up a few people. I ask him like, he's the leader. And so I say, hey, Al, the next thing you need to do is get him launched. I'll be here for you if you need me. New up and coming leader. That's called a mistake. What I'm doing is I'm allowing someone that has budding leadership qualities to go out and experiment on his new people. And here's what will happen. Good news. Let's say he does decent. He doesn't know what part is the experiment and what part worked. And so he has confidence without really knowing what he did to make things work. So that's the best scenario. Here's the worst scenario. He fails miserably, and now he doesn't believe that he can do it. And now I took the budding flame from a budding leader and I wiped it out. Who wiped it out? I did, because I was the dummy who let the new person try to build with their team because I was being lazy because I thought he was a budding leader. This is real leadership talk. I hope you guys are catching this. So what should I have done? What should I have done? When the 3 new people came in, who should have been the one to work with them? Me. What am I doing? That's called taprooting. So I'm looking under Al for the next person. Now, what am I looking for in the next person? Does anyone know? What type of person am I looking for? Does anyone know? You can put it in the chat. Nope, not looking for a leader. There it is. Celia said it, coachable. There it is, Bill. Look, this is what we call it. And it doesn't even have to be really coachable, but here's what it has to be. Write this down. A willing participant. That is it. A willing participant. A willing participant could have spent, like I said last week, they could have joined $224 or $199, right? They could have joined by that. Or a willing participant might not have the money, but they're willing to get you in front of people, right? So this is how you taproot. After Al Randolph has his 3 that join, I'm looking for the willing participant, the person who wants to go right now, right? It might be all 3. It might be one of them. But if 2 are giving me pushback, but one's like, yo, I'm ready. Amateur move. Amateur moves, I'm a sales closer. Let me close the 2 that don't want to do it. And then the one that really wants to do it fizzles away. That's the amateur. Here's what the professional does. You want 2 that are arguing, I'm gonna let you sit right here for right now. I'm gonna go with the guy that wants to get it right now. Excited. Why? Because you stay with excitement. Here's a side effect. If you stay looking for the excited person and you stay working with the excited person, you will more easily remain excited. If you try to close the people who aren't excited, they're going to suck the energy and life force completely out of you. And you will be less attractive to the newest people in your team. You will start having negative, angry conversations, and you will look unattractive, hear me carefully, to your newest people. You guys getting that? So Al Randolph's cousin, she's the most excited. So I grab her. I'm like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Al, listen, I need you to be free because I want you to hear how I'm doing this. Al says, you got it, Mr. Lewis. I'm going to be free. So Al gets on the phone with me and he hears me say to his cousin the exact same thing I said to him. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is a system. This works. So I say, cousin, I know you know at least 2 to 3 people, right? Who's your very best friend? Who are the people that you tell everything to, right? Those are the people she's gonna run and tell ACN to anyway. So I got those 3 people. What's the first person's schedule like? What do they do during the day? What does the second person do during the day? What is the third person? Now I got their schedule. Now I know I can call this person before work, this person during lunch, this person after. For the cousin, I got all 3. Al's hearing me do what I did with him. The cousin realizes, oh my gosh, this is what you and Al did with me. And I say, did it work? Al and the cousin laugh. Now they're getting comfortable with my style of leadership because I'm walking with them versus saying, here's what you do, now go. And then them try to do it and come back and say, it didn't work. Oh, that's because you messed up here, idiot, now go. That type of leader will never build leaders. You build by example. Remember, if my brother never saw the family learn how to walk, never saw us walk, he would have never walked at 9 months, which is crazy, by the way. So now I got the cousin. Cousin gets me on the phone. We get the same emergency PBR. When does it happen? Immediately, as soon as possible. As soon as possible. You guys get that? As soon as possible. Not 24 hours, not 48 hours, not a week from now, as soon as possible. So I'm on the phone. I get the 3-way with the cousins people. I get them to see the presentation. I get one of those people that's excited. I get that person and I basically do the who do you know by saying what? Who are the 2 to 3 closest people that you know you would share this with if you were excited? They say these 3 people. What am I doing? I'm taprooting. Al Randolph says, hey man, this is getting kind of busy. I can't go to my cousin. I can't be on the cousins people's thing. I say, cool. See ya. Cousin, can you? No? All right, great. Whatever. They may or may not be the person. But what I'm doing is I'm taprooting. If it's to be, it's up to me. Not if it's to be, I tell my team. That's not how that conversation goes. So here's what you're doing. In the process of taprooting, you're leading by example. And the people that want what you have are going to model your behavior. That's called human nature. That's why we learned how to walk. We modeled the behavior of the people that came before us. You've never met a grown-up who, you imagine being in like 7-Eleven or something and the door's open and you look and there's no one there. And you're like, what's going on? Was that a ghost? And then you hear shuffling and you look down, you see a grown man crawling into the 7-Eleven. He's just crawling in. And he looks angry, right? Knees all scuffed up. And he looks up and you kind of have this weird look. And he looks at you and he says, don't judge me. I just never learned how to walk. It's not for everyone. You would never catch that. That would never happen. Can you imagine how uncomfortable you would feel? Like, actually, it is for everyone, bro. What are you talking about, right? Well, that's the simplicity of ACN. But the reason why they never learn how to walk is because we all sat down as leaders and are trying to have a powwow conversation about how walking works. New people don't learn how to walk by having a conversation about how walking works. They learn how to walk by watching you walk. So are you walking in your team? Or are you trying to tell others to do so? Because if you're trying to tell others to do so, newsflash, you ain't promoting a lot of personal ETLs, period. I don't care if you're RVP, RD, ETL, SVP, super galactic SVP. You ain't promoting anybody because you are talking, not walking. So you got to remove talk and start to walk. And what's the walk? Getting someone from brand new to ETL by doing what? Tap rooting. Tap rooting. Start walking again. Start walking again. See what happens in your business. So with that, I know that was a lot. And if you have time, Mr. Thomas, just because it's a lot and it's the last one, if you want to open up for questions, that's up to you. But if anyone has any questions, I'm down to answer just for a few minutes. But with that being said, I will pass it back to you, sir.
Well, sir.
Hi, Mr. Julian. This is Sharian.
Hey, Sharian, what's going on?
Hey, what do you do when someone is not being coachable, but they won't get their money back?
Just leave them alone.
Okay. Okay.
And if they still take your calls, promote the next event for them every event until they say stop promoting events to me. Because my biggest team came from a guy who quit, who I called and promoted an event, and then he showed up with a girl he was dating, and that business blew up. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think that's it. And guys, if there's a lot of information, break it down, dissect it, but don't be afraid to step out and do it. Just look, you're not going to learn by memorizing it. You're going to learn by making mistakes and doing it. But if you have an outline that you can follow, which this is what this was for, you're going to start to get results. Remember, speed is a part of the process. Any one of you can do it. No, but the majority of SVPs, COCs, and ACN, the majority of the COCs never did it before. So if that's the case, you can most definitely do what everyone has done. You just got to go out and do it.
Mr. Lewis, this is Dave Culver.
Hey, sir.
How you doing? Great morning. When you get the new people, is your main focus to get them CQ'd in the first 72 hours first, then get them promoted within the first 7 days, or do you just focus on the first 30 days to get them promoted?
I'm trying to get them promoted as fast as possible. Now, I have these outlines in my mind, but it's really based on how fast a person wants to run with me. Like I'll have a goal to get them promoted to ETL within their first 2 weeks in my mind, but that might scare the average person. So I'll say, we're going to get you there as fast as you want to go. Do you want to go fast or slow? And they'll say fast, but fast for them might not be the same for me. So I'll stretch them and get certain things with fear of loss. For instance, we have the first event, they're officially in. We have the first event tomorrow. I say, hey, look, do you want tomorrow to be a set up to get paid? Or do you want tomorrow where you're already getting paid? Which one do you want? And they'll say, man, I want to get paid. I want to get paid. And I say, okay, well, let's get these services knocked out so that you are already in position to get paid by your first meeting. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's always what's in it for them. Now, what did I really say? I said, let's get you qualified, right? But I didn't say, let's get you qualified. I said, what's in it for them? And then they'll be excited. Okay, I got this service, I got that service. All right, you need one more. Let's figure this out together. What can we do to get it knocked out so that by tomorrow, you are already in position to get paid? Does that make sense, Dave?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. This is Pat.
Hey, Pat.
I like the way you broke down tap rooting to really explain what tap rooting is all about. Some people may not have the same know the real reason, why you taproot, is to help them, not to take away from them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And in reference to the getting, I like the language you use for getting the person qualified, not qualified, but promoted. That makes a difference. It's just like
Paid and
Mr.
promoted.
Thomas. Yes, just like Mr. Thomas tells the person on the phone, we're going to get you promoted in your first 7 to 10 days, get you paid. That's what he says. We're going to get you paid in the first 7 to 10 days. And that's good.
Right.
Because they're looking for their money. They're looking for their money, what they pay into it, and more.
Now, I will tell you this, when we get into advanced leadership, and this is just up to Mr. Thomas, there is a way to use taprooting in a fear of loss to get everyone who saw the business to join. I didn't want to go into that because that's advanced, but it's a fear of loss thing. And people who even said no will say yes. If Mr. Thomas ever want to go into that one day, we can knock that out too. But it's actually fun to do, because you see people who say, I will not do this. And then they say, well, you know what? Why would I say no? It's hilarious. But it all comes through taprooting. It all comes through taprooting. Cool. So you guys have the basics. So now it's time. Oh, go out there. Every one of you that have existing teams, here's what I would recommend. Go through your hierarchy, go through your organization, and go and look at the people. If you were in the business before the pandemic, go into your list of names and numbers of everyone that was in your organization and contact them and just say, listen, I need to have a heart-to-heart with you. Look, I need to have a heart. You were great in ACN, or I think you would be amazing, and I'm working on a project right now. I'm looking for a project. We need to talk. And what you'll find is people that might not have been decent, now they realize they can build on Zoom. This is crazy. All the people that I couldn't talk to because there wasn't a local meeting in the area where I grew up, whatever, now they can join on Zoom and they can see the business and explode it. And so all of you have so many people that you can actually start walking with if you just call back and had this conversation with them.
Mr. Lewis, I have something else I wanted to say. And this is great. Zoom is, because it's certain people that don't want other people to come to their house. Mm-hmm. So you can get them on the screen with a lot of people now.
Right. It's absolutely true.
Mr. Lewis, I have a question. This is Rose.
Hey, Rose.
Hi. Quick question. When you get those prospects on the call, like do you cast vision, or once you say I'm working on a project, do you get them on a Zoom to show the business, or do you kind of just cast vision? Where do you go from there after that phone call with them?
Both. So I'll say, listen, I'm working with I need you to know I'm working with Rose. I saw some great things in her, and we're working on a project. I'm actually you know what a grand opening is? Well, we're doing like a soft opening, and because things are different because of the pandemic now, we're actually doing it through Zoom. And I asked her if there were a few people that were special to her that she would want to be a part of the big reveal. And Rose, she said that she definitely needed you there. I don't know what is so special about you that she needs you there, but I'm just joking, right? And I'll do that and get you to laugh and then get you excited. And I'll say, Rose, here's the thing though. I know the two of you talk. She is not allowed to say anything about the reveal until the actual reveal. So if I find out you trying to get information from her, we gonna take your invite back.
Perfect.
And so you'll be excited to be, because everyone wants to be in something exclusive. And at the same time, you'll know not to try to talk about it. And my new person will be like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm not supposed to talk about it. So it takes care of all of those things. And I'll invite you on to the emergency PBZ for whatever time that we have it.
Perfect. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Lewis.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Al Randolph. Okay, Mr. Lewis. Great. That was really powerful on tap rooting. Recruit for recruit and Academy Award winner on that one. Okay, awesome.
I appreciate you, sir. I already know you tap rooting, so I'm excited to hear about all of your conquests.